Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with If I Could Choose Only One Recording by Artist X, it would have to be of Work P. Well, Artist X, the conductor, Colin Davis, really a splendid artist who made a lot of really great recordings and had some spectacular specialty niches in his repertoire. Consider, for example, Sibelius. He did a magnificent Sibelius cycle in Boston and made other recordings of Sibelius's music, some beautiful remakes with the London Symphony and a terrible cycle in the middle for RCA. We'll pretend it never happened. And Berlioz, he absolutely spearheaded the revival of Berlioz's music in the second half of the 20th century and made amazing recordings of Les Troyens, particularly twice yet. Really, really kind of cool. And Harold in Italy and the Symphonie Fantastique 5 times and the Requiem, all the major Berlioz works. An extraordinary achievement by any standard. He was a fine Beethoven conductor. He was an amazing Mozart conductor. Really extraordinary. And so for that reason, it's sort of hard to triangulate exactly which recording of his I would choose. He was also a very fine operatic conductor. But when all is said and done, the performance that I think best represents his art, his passion, and he was a very spontaneous conductor. I saw him live many times, and you could usually count on him getting carried away in some sort of almost disaster happening somewhere halfway through. He didn't lose any of that fire in the studio, I might add. A very, very spontaneous guy, emotional guy. So the work has to be Tippett, The Midsummer Marriage. Yes, absolutely. Now, some of you may be scratching your head going, huh? What? Well, let me explain myself here a little bit, all right? Here it is on Lyrita. It was originally released on Philips. Now, Colin Davis was a passionate advocate of Tippett's music throughout his career. He recorded A Child of Our Time multiple times, and he did the symphonies, all except number 4, which was dedicated to Schulte, so he didn't get a chance to do it because Schulte did it in Chicago, and it would have been better if Davis had done it in London. But what could we do? Anyway, here's the bottom line. Let me put this down. Every contemporary composer worth his salt needs the best possible circumstances to make their impression. So many times we are saddled, and you know this, you're record collectors, right? With unusual, interesting, or new repertoire in second-rate performances by second-tier orchestras and conductors that don't give the music the advocacy that it really needs to make the best impression. And Tippett really needed that advocacy because his music was extremely personal, extremely strange, often marvelous, uneven. Like every other composer, he had his ups and downs. I met the man at the premiere of The Mask of Time, and I can tell you he was a character, definitely a character. We corresponded a little bit. Really a marvelous guy, though. And The Midsummer Marriage, which is a musical updating of Mozart's The Magic Flute. Just so you know, it's just as crazy as The Magic Flute. The plot is every bit as ridiculous, and the story is quite similar. It's two couples having to go through a sort of rite of purification before they are prepared to wed. That's what it's about. And you've got mythical characters and mystical characters and ordinary everyday characters. So they all come together, this giant mess of a thing. And it's really great. It's just great, but it's crazy. I saw 2 performances of it, one at San Francisco Opera when I was at grad school, which was a glorious performance, another very good one at the New York City Opera when they did it. And it works splendidly well on stage. It makes no sense. You need a you need a ballet troupe to do things. They dance around, and the second act, for the most part, they sing about whale sperm and the final chorus, and it's based on Jungian psychology. And am I making no sense at all? Then you get it. You know exactly what this is about. So that's what I mean when I say it needs passionate advocacy. And that is exactly what the opera gets in this performance. It will convince you that it's a masterpiece, because it really is. It's an incredibly exciting, visceral, beautiful, extraordinary, lyrically intense piece of music. And we have here an amazing cast: Alberto Remedios, Joan Carlyle, Raymond Herrings, Elizabeth Harwood, Stuart Burroughs, Helen Watts, Stafford Dean, Elizabeth Bainbridge, with the chorus and orchestra of the Royal Opera House Covent Garden, of which Davis was in charge. But this also shows you just what happens to contemporary music, because Tippett passed away. His music now is being ignored basically everywhere. No one knows where it will finally settle. And this recording was originally released on Philips. Philips didn't care about it and deleted it. It was contemporary. No one was buying it, I'm sure. And so Lyrita picked it up, thank God. But the point is that this is as great a performance of this opera as we're likely to hear. Recently, a new one was released, thank God. So there's another performance out there that's very, very good, just as good, actually. And so now there are two excellent competing recordings of the Midsummer Marriage, which I think is just a wonderful thing. Perhaps this opera will make its way and keep Tippett's reputation alive for the foreseeable future. I don't know, but what I do know is that contemporary music that's worth hearing needs the best possible advocacy. And this is a performance that has, first of all, the exalted first-class standards, but also the love, the sympathy with the idiom, the conviction to persuade you that you're listening to something special and meaningful. And for that reason, I think this is absolutely the piece I would want to represent Colin Davis. And then I can go to the evil god Cancrozans, who wants to destroy all of classical music, but for one recording or one work per composer or one recording per artist, and say to him, look at what he did with this piece. Wouldn't you love to hear his Berlioz, his Sibelius, his Mozart, his Stravinsky? I mean, the guy was a terrific conductor. Many, many, many choices. But I think this is certainly the one that shows what he could do at its very, very best. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.